All right, let's go over the words. Good. You'll be fine. What's that? First time you get an A? Well, there you go. Then I'm really not worried. Let me find the words here. Yeah. I got to share it here with and let them all get. Got a few people. So if you read the email, I want you to do this on a Google Doc there, and we're going to go over the words. Let's shuffle these up. So set the table. Tischdecken, clear the table. Tisch abräumen, umlaut A. Make a bed. Here. Müll rausbringen. Move on. Do the dishes. Vacuum. Staubsaugen. Do laundry. Wäsche waschen. Der Besen. Vacuum cleaner. Der Staubsauger. The laundry. Just die Wäsche, umlaut A. Dryer. There's that word again. Wäsche. We have that word a few times. Wäschetrockner. Die Waschmaschine. Dreckig or schmutzig, either one. Tidy in order. Ordentlich, L-I-C-H. Clean. Thank you. Sauber. Dirty. We had schmutzig and dreckig. We'll take either one. To iron. Bügeln. To sweep. We have Besen, and with the Besen you fegen. To clean in general. Putzen. To wash. We had already. Waschen. Wipe or mop. Waschen and wischen. Aufräumen. We have abräumen und aufräumen. Clean up, clean off. To rinse is spülen. Had that one already. It's a pigsty. Ein Saustall. Yeah, okay. No, we're good. We're good. Okay. How?
Can I take a late grade on this, please?
I don't have any late grades.
I don't think you deserve it. No.
You should drop our illustration.
Yep. And this may be it, right? Put everything away. Stück Papier, Kuli, Bleistift. Everything else away, please. Phones, laptops, Chromebooks, whatever you have.
Did you pick an easy one?
Did I pick an easy one? An easy one. What about that one?
Yes, please.
That's how we're going to do it. It's going to be like a democratic quiz. We'll take a vote. Everyone agree on that word is a good one. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. No, we're not. This is German class. All right. Nummer eins. Nummer eins. To vacuum. The verb to vacuum. To vacuum. To vacuum. Number 5, to iron. To iron. To iron. Number 3, to do the laundry. To do the laundry. To do the laundry. Number 4 has 2 possible answers. Could be dirty or filthy. And I mean, you have 2 possible answers on the German end too. If you want to, no, just put one. Dirty, filthy. There's 2 German words that go along with this too. And that's all you need to know. That's all you need. Dirty or filthy. 5, to sweep. To sweep, the verb to sweep. Number 6, to do the dishes.
Is each word 2 points?
Uh-huh. Uh-uh. To do the dishes. Number 7, to set the table. Number 8, to clean up. Like clean up your room.
Is this one for temperature?
What's that?
Is this no.
To clean up. Number 9, to mow the lawn. Mow the lawn. Number same, to wipe or to mop. To wipe or to mop. Max, number 7 was to set the table. Number 9, bonus. Washing machine. Are we there yet? Bonus, washing machine.
The bonus you said on the,
Oh, does it say something different?
yeah, it said it's a big stuff.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I had one set. It's a pigsty. Write that off. Pigsty. That's true. That's just poor planning. It is a pigsty is the bonus.
It was.
What? 3 is to do laundry.
What's 2?
2 is to iron. What's wrong, everybody? Everyone looks really confused. Bring me when you're ready, but don't take too long.
Will you take my notes on
What? Oh, I'll read it. Of course, I'll take all your written communication to heart.
I haven't really.
5 was to sweep.
And I forgot to pack till 11 o'clock, and then I think
I'm sorry for the back here.
I'm sorry, Ava. The bonus and it's a pigsty. It's a pigsty. Is there someone's quiz I don't have yet? I'm not going to go over them now because there's people taking it virtually here, so I don't want to give away any answers, but write this here. 2, 1, 15, 20, 21. All right. Okay, and if you're at home, then just share those with me, please, and I'll look at them from there. All right, so today I showed these to the other class too, but I have a short, or 3 short videos to show you. And if you would, should we start with the more depressing one? I mean, not depressing, but, negative one, and work our way to the fun stuff then. Okay, let's do that. Would you please? Much like what happened in our country a week and a half ago, this happened in Germany at their Capitol building in August already. Not to say that they're better than us or they're ahead of us. I'm just kidding. That's not even very funny, is it? No, that's just a bad sense of humor. Well, it sounds like the protesters right there. All right. So here is the first video about what happened in Germany in August, and it's very parts of the video you're going to look at it and be like, if you don't pay too much attention to some of what the flags are and what's written on people's shirts, or you would think it was close-up video from what happened in DC the other day. This is how. Now, I'm not sure whether I'm gonna. Come on. I'm not gonna. It's illegal in Germany you can't carry a Nazi flag like with a swastika on it. That's illegal. People do it sometimes, but you can get arrested for this. So for some reason, why is it illegal? And so the neo-Nazis have adopted this using this what do you call it? It's the imperial flag. It goes back. It's the flag before World War One, and when they had a Kaiser, and and going even back before World War One, it was the flag during World War One and before. And I don't know why they've embraced that as their flag, other than the fact that they can't fly Nazi flags without being subject to arrest. So yes, Ava, share that with me, please. So that's not the. Oh, wait a minute. Why didn't this say? Hold on. Duplicate. And this is from a German news source, but they broadcast it in English as well. So here we go.
Condemned a far-right attempt to storm the Parliament building in Berlin. President Frank-Walter Steinmeier called it an intolerable attack in the heart of our democracy. Now, demonstrators against the government's pandemic policies, along with far-right groups and science deniers, overwhelmed police and rushed the entrance to the German Parliament, the Bundestag.
Far-right extremists pushed through police lines to the top of the Reichstag steps. Widerstand, they shout, resistance. And wir sind das Volk, we are the people. The black, white and red are the colours of the old Imperial German Reich, used now by neo-Nazis. In front of the Reichstag, it makes for shocking symbolism. It's not acceptable and it cannot be tolerated that some appear with symbols from a terrible dark past, flags that have nothing to do with our modern democracy, and they show up in front of the Bundestag building, the Reichstag building, the most important symbol of our democracy, the Parliament.
Symbol unserer Demokratie, das Parlament.
Other demonstrators who'd filled central Berlin on Saturday were no longer the centre of attention. Many remained on Sunday, though, and held a small day after rally at the Brandenburg Gate. They focused on their corona-skeptic message and dismissed the previous day's aggression. What happened here was chaos. Some small groups who wanted to take advantage of the situation, and which we who support the corona demonstration want to have nothing to do with. Yet the far right were confident of their place in Berlin at the weekend, amid the rainbows and peace flags of other demonstrators. And the corona skeptics didn't seem to have a problem with them being there.
And for more, we are joined now by DW political correspondent Thomas Sparrow, who was at this weekend's demonstrations. We just heard it described there, Thomas, as chaos. Is that what you witnessed?
They were certainly not normal demonstrations. We did see specific clashes between the police and demonstrators, in particular when the police tried to dissolve the protest because they considered that people were not wearing masks or adhering to social distancing rules. And in fact, no one was wearing a mask. We were also laughed at when we were wearing ourselves a mask. And at that time, when police announced that they would dissolve the protest, there were specific clashes. And we also saw, obviously afterwards, what happened when they stormed the Reichstag building, which is one of Germany's most important buildings with a lot of symbolic importance, because it's important to stress that in 1933, the Nazis burned down that building when they were trying to sort of get rid of what was left of German democracy at the time. So you can clearly say that this was very, very important scenes that we saw, also scenes that have shocked Germany's political establishment.
Talk with us a little bit about the mix, actually, that we saw on the streets, because, you have these right-wing extremists pretty much being tolerated in what was a demonstration intended for being against public health concerns. So why is that?
There was indeed a big mix of people, from families that were there simply out to protest, to complain about the government's handling of the coronavirus pandemic, to anti-vaxxers, to people who believe in conspiracy theories, to people who obviously belong to far-right extremist groups. We also saw them there as well. And that makes the challenge for authorities obviously much bigger to try and identify who is actually going there and what are the goals. It is under no circumstances one group of people with one specific interest, but a very varied group of people with very different interests. Probably what unites them all is the fact that they're against the German government and they're against the way the government has been handling the pandemic. One person actually told me when I asked about that goal that only the dead fish swim with the current. So basically that they wanted to show a completely different face of Germany and the way the country.
That's actually a saying in German. Only dead fish swim with the current. Meaning that if you're not doing something active, you're not really living, or that, I guess that's the, anyway, that phrase is not always a negative one. It's not good to hear, but.
Has been dealing with the coronavirus.
Okay, so they do have a common denominator. Tell us, organizers, they claim an extreme minority is responsible for the clashes that, for example, the ones we were just seeing on video there. Is that correct?
If you look, for example, at what the far-right AfD, so the biggest opposition party in the German parliament, stressed, they were actually in favor of the protest, and they have that exact view. So they said it was only a minority of people who stormed the parliament. They also agreed with other politicians in Germany saying that was not enough. But on the other hand, they did stress that the grievances and the opinions that people had were actually legitimate and that they supported that, and they even described it as being a good day. So it depends what view you take, whether you believe that it was only a minority who were there from the far-right extremist scene, or whether you believe, like other people said, that actually normal, common Germans were actually marching side by side with far-right extremist groups. And that was something that we also saw, by the way, in the counter demonstrations that also took place in Berlin on Saturday, because it's important to stress that it was not only people out there to protest against the coronavirus restrictions, there were also people there to say that you couldn't have protests where you saw people hand in hand or side by side with what they described as neo-Nazis.
That juxtaposition says a lot about the atmosphere in the country right now. What has been the reaction from politicians?
Politicians from across the board, from the German president to the German vice chancellor to other politicians from most parties, have actually criticized what happened at the Reichstag, slammed it, saying that that was a bad day for German democracy, stressing that it was an intolerable attack on the heart of German democracy. I already explained the significance of the Reichstag. A different view, as I already stressed, came from the far-right AfD. We saw also many AfD supporters there at the protest on Saturday. Politicians from the AfD were also at the protest, and they again stressed that even though they did not agree with what happened at the Reichstag, they did think that the actual ideas that people were bringing at that protest were legitimate, and therefore one of the leading AfD politicians described it as a good day.
DW's Thomas Sparrow. Thank you.
All right, let's lighten it up a little bit, Tend to be like that all the time. Does it? All right. Let's get past the commercial.
Quality writing makes your schoolwork better. Meet Grammarly.
Trust us.
All right. So, and now a little travel to some of the nicest places to visit. Yep. You recognize that castle? Anybody? Okay.
This country's got something for everyone. Welcome to Mojo Travels, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 destinations in Germany for 2021. Are you a fan of our videos? Be sure to subscribe to Mojo Travels and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
Hit the bell, smash
For
that
this
button, and
list,
smash
we're looking
the
at
other.
some of Germany's most compelling cities, towns, regions, and landmarks to help you plan the ultimate trip. We're limiting ourselves to 10 destinations for the sake of efficiency, but know that this list is just scratching the surface of everything this country has to offer. Number 10, Bamberg. We begin our German highlight reel in the Bavarian town of Bamberg, in Upper Franconia on the river Regnitz. This historic town spans 7 hilltops, each of which is topped with a church. If that sounds like something out of a medieval fantasy realm, brace yourself, because that's just the tip of the iceberg of Bamberg's old world charms. The town dates back to the 9th century CE, if not earlier, and its long history can be felt everywhere you look. Somehow Bamberg has managed to avoid having its character marred with the addition of contemporary structures, which are all but non-existent. While Bamberg as a whole is painfully charming, its crowning jewel is the Altstadt, or Old Town. While exploring the picturesque town, which is often referred to as Franconian Rome, be sure to sample Bamberg's distinctive brew, a smoked Rauchbier. Number 9, Cologne. Germany's fourth largest city by population, Cologne doesn't always make the itinerary on shorter trips, but it really should be made a priority as it's bursting at the seams with cultural and historic attractions. The obvious highlight is the famous Cologne Cathedral, which stands as an awe-inspiring example of Gothic architecture. But there are also medieval churches and a number of museums to explore. If you're interested in perfume, the Farina Fragrance Museum will provide a crash course in the history of the city's namesake, Eau de Cologne. Add to that Cologne's vibrant nightlife, eclectic architecture, including notably modern structures, and the local brew Kölsch, and you've got a uniquely balanced destination. Cologne also makes for a great home base for exploring the Rhineland, an area of land bordering the Rhine River characterized by its beautiful landscape and charming villages. Number 8, Rothenburg ob der Tauber. Another Franconian gem, Rothenburg's somewhat wordy full name translates to Red Fortress above the Tauber. Like Bamberg, this Bavarian walled city overlooking the Tauber River earns its place on our list because of its extremely well-preserved historic buildings. As you walk the streets of Rothenburg, you can't help but feel as if you've been transported back to medieval times, just with all of life's modern conveniences coming along for the ride. A small town best appreciated when aimlessly wandering, Rothenburg is a good place to do your Christmas shopping, regardless of the time of year. Home to a beloved Christmas market with over 500 years of history, the town's close ties with the Yuletide holiday.
See that picture right there? See that poster over there by Paige's desk?
Yeah.
Huh? That's it right there.
Oh my gosh, that's right there.
Same thing, man. It is pretty cute. Very touristy, but it is something to see. I mean,
Is such that there are stores selling Christmas-related products year-round. There's even a Christmas museum. Regardless of whether you celebrate the holiday or not, however, Rothenburg ob der Tauber is sure to inspire awe with its simple beauty and charming atmosphere. Number 7, Mainz. When many people think of Germany, beer is typically the first beverage that comes to mind. But Germany is also amazing for wine, and so is Mainz. The capital and largest city of the Rhineland-Palatinate state, Mainz sits at the juncture where the Main and Rhine rivers meet. The city is of Roman origin and dates all the way back to the 1st century BCE. It's worth a trip to Mainz for its history alone, even if the majority of the historical buildings were destroyed in World War II. But the main draw nowadays is wine. Mainz is the enophile capital of Germany, with wine growing practices dating back to the time of Roman rule. The city is located in the Rhine-Hessen area, Germany's largest and most celebrated wine.
Well, your day is too post-worthy.
Region.
does Google not have enough money already? Really? In the middle of the video?
So, whether you want to tour vineyards or simply sample the local offerings, you're truly spoiled for choice. Number 6, Dresden. A city that was decimated during the Second World War, Dresden certainly bounced back with style. Before bombs reduced much of it to rubble, the city was known for its opulent construction and wealth of art. And today, thanks to extensive restoration efforts and new construction, it shines bright anew. The capital city of Saxony State, Dresden is considered a major hub of German culture and art. Some of the city's most notable museums and collections include new and old masters galleries and the Green Vault. The latter is the largest known collection of treasure in all of Europe and is full of precious gems, jewelry, and art.
This museum was robbed about a year ago. All this jewelry, not all of it, but a lot of the jewelry. It had to be like an inside job because the people were very smooth. They went in, they went right where they wanted to go, got what they needed, got past security stuff, and have not been caught. So I think one of the, I think she's going to say that, but it's one of the, how do you say it? One of the most, not expensive museums, but how would you say that? Like the stuff within the museum, the value of the stuff in the museum, right? How do you say it? Good. on display. And then that's, of course, if you're going to rob a museum, that's the one to go to. In Europe, I think are one of the highest in Europe. It's because they have like crowns and all these precious jewels and stuff.
Artwork made of various valuable materials. It's among the world's oldest museums, but one needn't be a lover of the arts to appreciate Dresden. The city as a whole is absolutely stunning, and the abundance of green spaces, paired with its location along the Elbe River, make it a pleasure to explore. Number 5, Rügen. When you start fantasizing about taking a trip to Germany, what are some of the mental images that come to mind? No matter how long we give you, something tells us that the beach is unlikely to come up. Popular with locals and their European neighbors, but often overlooked by international travelers, Germany's Rügen Island makes for a dreamy getaway. Located along the Pomeranian coast, it's the country's largest island and boasts a wide variety of activities and attractions. In addition to the resorts, water sports, and beaches, specific highlights include Jasmund National Park, which is famous for its towering chalk cliffs, and the architectural sites like Ravsvik Castle. Because the coastline is hundreds of miles long, it's easy to find a quiet slice of paradise to call your own, even during peak season. Like we said, Germany has really got a bit of everything. Number 4, the Black Forest. We've described a number of destinations as...
Say again? Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Fairy tale-like today, and Germany's relationship with fairy tales runs far deeper than the architecture. Two of Germany's most famous sons, the Brothers Grimm, collected and published many of the most popular fairy tales known today. In fact, those with a passion for such stories can follow the German fairy tale route, which spans 370 miles and stops at various locations relating to the work and careers of the Brothers Grimm. If you really want to get to the root of German folklore, however, you have to venture into the ancient Black Forest. Encompassing just under 100 square miles of land in the German southwest, this massive, densely wooded mountainous area has given birth to countless folk stories, legends, and myths. You don't need to believe such things, however, to be carried away by the magical atmosphere of the Black Forest. Whether you're hiking amidst the storied trees, driving the country roads, or exploring one of the area's small towns or villages, the Black Forest makes for an inspiring destination. Number 3, Munich. Here in the Bavarian capital, tradition and modernity make for an unlikely but undeniably happy marriage. The biggest event on the calendar is the city's world-renowned Oktoberfest, which consistently attracts upwards of 6 million thirsty visitors to partake in the festivities. But the fact that roughly 70 million people visit the city annually stands as a testament to the year-round appeal of Munich. The city's famous brewing traditions make it a mecca of sorts for beer lovers.
This one here, can you see what it says there? It's kind of, well, yeah, just say what's hell? Light. So it's not a dark beer. It's not that doesn't mean light like a calorie light. It means light as in color. But you can't see it very well, but it says there on it's Augustiner Bräu. Who are the Augustiner? Yeah, that's right. What's that? Yeah, maybe you can get a job as a brewer. You can become a brewer.
No, they're like Augustinians coming into our classrooms.
Yeah, he visited mine yesterday.
Oh.
But Augustiner Bräu is I think I thought about it right. It's one of the larger breweries in Munich, and there are a lot of big ones. And I always have a mug here from, but I think I took it home. It's but they're not owned by the Augustinians, but they were for like it's a very old brewery, 1600s.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's been bought. I don't know who owns it now, but it's the Augustinians are not involved in it anymore. But anyway, that's one of their beers.
And home brewers who are sure to want to extend their stay. There are simply too many beer halls and beer gardens to cover in a single trip. But for all the beer being consumed, Munich is equally known as a city of the arts. The Residence, Old and New Pinakothek, and the Glyptothek house some of the most popular exhibits and galleries. But the city has museums covering a wide range of subjects, including a dedicated BMW museum. Plus, there's no better place to try the many traditional Bavarian dishes. Number 2, Neuschwanstein.
You know this
Also
one?
located in Bavarian, Germany, towering over the small town of Hohenschwangau, this epic 19th century castle needs to be seen in person to be believed. Built in the Romanesque revival style, Neuschwanstein was erected at the command of King Ludwig II of Bavaria, built to honor iconic composer Richard Wagner, whom the king held in the highest regard and considered a friend. Built atop the ruins of a medieval castle, Neuschwanstein took 17 years to complete and grew increasingly elaborate over the course of its construction. But it's hard to argue with the results. The castle has since been visited by over 60 million people, with an average of about 1.3 million annual tourists in recent years. We're sorry to bring our subject back to fairy tales again, but there's a fun bit of trivia about this castle that's just too fun to leave out. Cinderella's castle at Disney World pulls from a number of real-world structures for its inspiration, but Neuschwanstein Castle served as the central and most direct model. Number 1, Berlin. Germany's capital city might seem like an obvious choice for our top entry, but it lives up to the hype. Quite frankly, there's so much to say about Berlin, it's hard to do the city justice in a single entry. The city has numerous museums, historic sites, and attractions, with highlights including Brandenburg Gate, the remnants of the Berlin Wall, and Museum Island, which is an entire complex of museums. While Berlin makes for both a historically and culturally fascinating destination, it's equally a vibrant, modern metropolis. The city is on the cutting edge of fashion. Kurfürstendamm is a shopaholic's dream come true. If you visit during the holiday season, the Christmas markets transform the city into a winter wonderland. And then there's the nightlife. No city knows how to party into the wee hours of the morning quite like Berlin. Add to that the culinary scene, and you've got a city that knows how to scratch every itch. Do you agree with our picks?
All right.
Check out.
Yes, I agree. I mean, with a lot of them. Okay, one more. Now, you might know this, but the German national soccer team won the World Cup in 2014. However, dare I say, they dropped the ball. I like my other joke better, though. I don't think she's Ava coming back. They dropped the ball. Terrible. They dropped the ball at the last World Cup. It's every 4 years they play the World Cup. In 2018, as defending world champions, when they were knocked out of the World Cup in the first round by the powerhouse of soccer, South Korea. Really, they lost to South Korea. But let's reflect on better times and watch the best goals of 2014. Who's a soccer fan and would play like soccer? Nobody. Just me. Chloe does. Well, you'll see some great playing here. And by the way, the most humiliating game for the other team was when they played. By the way, the World Cup was in Brazil in 2014. And their game where they humiliated the team the worst was the Brazilian team, which had made its way all the way to the semifinals to play, and they played Germany. And Brazil is traditionally a powerhouse. They're that's the land of Pele. That's the hold. And
We have 1 minute left.
what?
I'm so sad. Is Germany good at track? Because Scotland is really good at track.
At traffic?
Like that running.
I don't know that. Is it really getting ready to rain?
Yeah.
I'll have to watch it on Monday. It's really a good
No, we
video.
don't have school Monday. Do you want me to turn on your lights?
Please. Darn it.
No, let him schedule something for Monday.
All right.
Let me see where we are.
Auf Wiedersehen. Share that with me if you guys have that, Doc. Tschüss. Schönes Wochenende. Langes Wochenende.